Broadcasting from the Business RadioX studio in Houston, Texas, it's time for Regions Business Radio Houston. Regions Business Radio Houston is presented by Regions Bank. Brave the beginning. Member FDIC.
Welcome to Regions Business Radio Houston, presented by Regions Bank, member of the FDIC. I'm your host, John Stacy, Market Executive and Head of Regions' Houston Commercial Banking Team. We are broadcasting live from our Business RadioX studio inside the Royal Sonesta Houston Galleria. Today we're here to talk about the growth that Regions is doing in Houston. We're growing our book of business, we're growing relationships, and we're growing our team. And to kind of hone in on that and focus on that, today's guests are some recently hired associates in relationship manager's role. Shantae Johnson comes to us with about 8 years of experience. Matt Donovan comes to us with about 6 years of experience. And then we have the veteran on the team, Brian Hanley, who brings about 30 years of experience. And so our conversation today is simply going to revolve around what was it about Regions that inspired you to ultimately join. So Shantae, let's start with you first. When you first received that phone call from the recruiter, he did not identify who the bank was, but he said something in that conversation that intrigued you to kind of take the conversation to the next level and agree to meet with us at Regions Bank. Can you share with our listeners what that was?
Hi, John. I definitely can. First of all, thank you so much for having us all on. I'm really excited to share my experience of how I was actually recruited here at Regions. The recruiter didn't mention the name of the bank, but the recruiter spoke about the bank asking me to bring my authentic self. And so immediately, I'm like, a bank has never asked for me to bring my authentic self. What does this mean? He says, well, you need to have a conversation. You need to agree before you can even figure out who the bank is there. It's confidential, but some things that you had said to me in the past really resonated with this particular bank. The other thing that really resonated with me, which is why I had decided to have the conversation, was he spoke about the level of support available here from the leadership team as well as my partners. And then he mentioned, hey, your partners would actually be local. And for me, that was definitely advantageous as someone who's constantly pursuing new business within a market like Houston.
How about you, Matt? How about you? When the recruiter first called you and said, hey, I'd like to visit with you about a bank that's hiring here in Houston, what intrigued you to want to continue and take those conversations?
Yeah, thanks, John, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to folks on this podcast. And a lot of what I experienced mirrors and shadows what Shantae had experienced. When the recruiter reached out to me directly, which was a Regions recruiter direct, I actually was first not really terribly interested in considering offers. I was pretty happy with my current position, and I saw a good career trajectory and really appreciated my team and appreciated the management team that I was there with. But what really came to me was the overwhelming sense of authenticity that she showed and the passion that she showed. And in the conversations that her and I had were more centered, I would say, towards values and the purpose and why I would entertain a position with Regions and to contribute to the growth initiatives that it's having. It was just really refreshing to hear that authenticity and engaging with management and leadership here locally. That authenticity was just continuing to come through and continuing to just be, I think, indicative of what the organization is and who Regions is.
And so, Brian, you and I have known each other for a while. So, we were not working with a recruiter, but you and I had been talking for 6 months, 10 months, something like that. And there must have been something that I was saying that got you to take more meetings with associates within Regions and ultimately join us. Can you share with our listeners what that was?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely, John. So the scenario was much different from Shantae's and Matt's, and the fact that, again, you and I have known one another. We'd worked together at a former institution. So there was that comfort level. And when you shared with me the vision that you were developing at Regions, it really resonated with me, coupled with the fact that the institution where I was employed was going through a merger. We all know how challenging that can be individually as well to the client. And so I think it was a little over 8 to 9 months, but you kept at me, being the salesman that you are. And the comfort level was there because I was looking at several opportunities. But as you know, the ability and the comfort you need with management, with your clients, with your prospects is imperative. That was the key element for me, was the comfort level I had with you and the senior management at Regions.
with your reputation in the industry, you were just somebody that I had to get on the team. You elevate the talent level for sure, and hopefully will inspire others that have the same level of experience that you do in the Houston market to also entertain calls if they get those calls from us. Let's switch now you're inside Regions and you're interviewing with people. Shantae, share with our listeners, what did you start hearing that was kind of a common theme for you as you went through? And we did put you through a lot of interviews. You have to admit that. It wasn't just one or two. There were several of them. But there had to have been a common theme there where you would go home at night. You've shared with me about this. You talk to your husband. You're like, listen, there's something special, your words, going on over at Regions. Share what that was with our listeners.
John, this is the easiest question you will probably ask me all day. And what I will say is immediate connections with leadership and the colleagues that I was able to meet. But also, it was just the local feel with big bank capabilities. Everyone that I spoke to was excited about what was going on here. Everyone was willing to roll up their sleeves, and just the excitement that brought, as well as the authenticity of everyone I met, really resonated with me and made me go home to my husband and say, I don't know what the heck is going on with these people, but these people are real people. These people really care about their clients. They care about the market that they're now breaking into as a growth market. And they have really honed in on the products and services that are needed to be successful here at Houston. And as far as leadership is concerned, that's one of the main reasons why I moved over here. Leadership, immediately, first meeting was like, woo, Shantae, you're here. How are you today? And I was like, what is happening? This is a bank. Are they really this cool? And yes, you are that cool. And that is why I was just so excited about our conversations.
Well, how about you, Matt? I know probably by the time you and I met, you had met 2 or 3 other people within the bank. And I remember the first time you and I met, we were having coffee downstairs. And the conversation went on, I think, for an hour and a half, it seemed like. And it was a great conversation. And one of the things you also said to me was that you wanted to go home and talk to your wife about what was going on. You weren't sure you wanted to leave where you currently were. But there had to be something in those conversations that you were having with all of us internally at Regions Bank that finally put you over and said, yes, I want to be a part of this team. Share with our listeners what that is.
Yeah, welcome to. And what Shantae said about authenticity and what I think we've all been kind of mentioning about how authentic the conversations we've had with leadership when we were interviewing, it really continued throughout the process. And with that, I think just the leadership's focus on me as a fit for Regions because of my values and what gets me going in the morning, what drives me, was really something that was different than what I had experienced at other interviews. At other interviews, you'll be asked questions about competency, which is obviously important. You want to hire people who have the skill sets to be successful at their job. But I would say that more than that was the focus on purpose and values and whether I as a team member would be a good fit to contribute to the growth that we are achieving and the initiatives that we are achieving. So just how centric it was to purpose and value was very meaningful to me. And really with those tough conversations with my wife of, is this the good move? That's what put me over because it just seemed like the right fit because of how oriented it was and how aligned it was with what I personally value.
Well, and Matt, I recall that where you just were not getting that opportunity to become a relationship manager. And at Regions Bank, that afforded you that opportunity. Talk to our listeners a little bit about that because it did allow you to further your career and keep moving towards a banking career.
Yeah, that's exactly right, John. And to rewind a little bit about what attracted me to the banking industry and the relationship manager as a profession is really how centric our jobs are to the entrepreneurs in our community. And I personally feel that I'm somebody who values an entrepreneurial spirit, and that's really what resonates with me. And to see that in our customers day in and day out is what gets me driven and really what excites me to be with Regions and the growth initiatives that we have. And so, having the conversations with Regions Bank, being able to apply that entrepreneurial spirit, John and the rest of the leadership team having confidence in me to make a difference in our community, to help us grow, was just tremendously valuable. And it's exciting time to be here at Regions today because of those growth opportunities, similar to the folks that we talk to in our community day in and day out who are making a difference, the entrepreneurs who are making a difference in Houston. We get to make a difference here at Regions by building and growing our business here locally. And I'm just tremendously excited to see where my career goes as a relationship manager 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line here at Regions. I get to apply that entrepreneurial spirit that has really attracted me to the industry and get to do that in an exciting time here at Regions in Houston.
So the entrepreneur spirit and relationships is what I've heard from both Shantae and Matt. Brian, for you, I mean, you're so well known in the market. People are knocking on your door. You could have gone anywhere, and you chose Regions. Once you got in and started, having conversations with others within the organization, what was it that kind of just sent a message to you that, this is the right place to be?
Yeah, and I think Shantae and Matt both hit on it, John. And, one of the elements that you look for as you're getting into your career is you want to offer to middle market clients and prospects the investment bank capabilities with the Main Street touch. So we've all kind of done a rotation at the money center banks, and they do a great job. But the super regionals, like a Regions, you're able to leverage your business partners and deliver solutions effectively, efficiently to your clients. And that's what, really interests me in the platform.
So let's just kick right into the next topic. So you've been here now a few months.
Correct.
Talk to our listeners about what that's been like. Has it met expectations? Have there been surprises? Are there refreshing things that you're seeing?
Certainly the markets have changed with COVID. We're starting to get out and interface more. And I think the advantage that we have is that we're delivering solutions where a lot of the other competitors are slower right now. So that's been a big difference. I think the speed that we're delivering and also the quality of the vertical expertise that we're delivering as well. A lot of our business product partners have money center bank experience, investment bank experience, and we're able to offer these solutions to middle market clients and prospects.
Matt, how about you? When did you start? In January?
I started in November.
In November. Okay. Boy, time flies when you're having fun.
It sure does.
So you've been here since the fall. Talk to our listeners about what you've thought since you've been here.
Yeah, and a lot of what I'm going to say is going to echo and just kind of reiterate what Brian mentioned. And really what attracted me to Regions is as he said, the big bank feel, or the big bank capabilities with a Main Street feel and a Main Street approach. And every bank you talk to is going to tell you they have great partnership with their product partners, they have great partnership with their line of businesses. But what I've been really refreshed by is Regions really puts their money where their mouth is, as far as having local partnerships here. And I have a global trade finance representative and partner relationship manager who is here locally versus being 500 miles away, 1,000 miles away. And so having that local coverage and the ability to partner and collaborate with your partners here, and having the incentives aligned with kind of the Regions 360 approach, and everybody being on the same page of how to go out to market to your client to provide them with the best suited solutions for them, has just been incredibly refreshing. And really, what the bank has said about its ability to partner and collaborate has all rung true to me so far, being with the bank just over 6 months.
Shantae, you come from a big bulge bracket bank. You too could have gone to other places. I know that you needed to think about your ultimate decision to come to Regions Bank, but you heard something as you started interviewing with people. We talked about that. But now fast forward, you're here. You've been here a month, couple of months.
Yes.
Share with our audience what surprises there have been, what's been refreshing, and talk about the team.
Well, what I'll say is being here, it's been almost a month, so I'm still learning and getting to know the team, but the collaboration is definitely there. From just announcing the transition over here to the Regions family, immediately my LinkedIn, I had prospects that I've been calling on for years literally say, I noticed a change. Tell me more. And for me, that has been exciting. That has been refreshing. And in addition to that, working with people like Matt and working with Brian it's been easy. It's been collaborative. The partners that you told me were, hey, they're here. They're actually here. They want to go out. My credit product team is here. My global trade service team is here. My treasury management team is here. And everybody's willing to go out and have those conversations and collaborate. And then being a part of a growth market, while it's scary, it's definitely an exciting time because the products are definitely aligned for growth companies, because we as a bank are in a growth phase. So now we have the time and the opportunity to look at those particular clients that we want to bank and say, hey, what are their needs? What can we do to help them, and have conversations and bring them into a bank who's growing just like they are, and we can understand it and we can respect it, and it's just exciting. It's very refreshing.
Matt, let's just continue that theme of being an exciting time to be with Regions Bank. Share your thoughts on why is it an exciting time? Yes, we're in a growth mode. We're building something. It's always fun to be a part of that, right? But in your words, share with the audience why it's an exciting time to be with Regions Bank in Houston.
Yeah. In addition to what you just mentioned, we do have a mandate from the bank to grow. But what I think is exciting about it is we've been given the resources and the backing by management to achieve that. And, I think people should understand that growing a business and growing a bank and growing its presence here in a market is not easy, but it is something that is tremendously rewarding whenever you onboard that client, whenever you take a team approach and a collaborative approach to add value to a client that they're not otherwise receiving in the market. All of that is tremendously valuable. And, it's not easy. It can be difficult to win business, but, seldomly are things that are easy, really, the things that are most worthwhile in pursuing. And so just like you mentioned, John, just the growth initiatives that we have, the backing by management, and the platform and the capabilities and collaboration to all make it happen. It's just an exciting time to be here.
Brian, what would you add to that about, why is it an exciting time to be at Regions Bank? I mean, you've been with other banks before. You've been doing this for a while. Share with our listeners why, in your mind, it is an exciting time to be here.
The speed with the changes and the vision that you shared. So I'm coming up on 9 months with the bank. I think when I started, there were approximately 6-7 people on the team. As of today, I think you're coming up on 19. So the growth is there, the support of the company is there, and you're starting to see a lot of the younger talent, Shantae and Matt, coming on board. That's real exciting. As you get older in your career, you love to see the younger people evolve and their careers grow.
That's exactly right. And you talk about the model that we use to go to the market. We have in-market credit products. We have in-market treasury management, global trade finance. Shantae, speak with the audience about how we do go to market, how we cover the market, how it's not just a relationship manager out there being a lone ranger trying to find business in a market like Houston that is extremely competitive.
Definitely, John. What I will say is, regarding our partners and the partnership that those partners are willing to take on has been great. All of the variety of industry partners that we have definitely are a game changer here at Regions. And the reason for that is, as you mentioned, being a relationship manager and going out and representing the bank by yourself, a lot of times you have those potential clients that say, well, where's your team? I have international needs. I know you may not be an expert. Do you have an expert that I could talk to possibly? I can say yes, and I don't have to pop them in on a Zoom. They're coming to those meetings with me, having those detailed conversations and providing that level of expertise that is very important for our business owners. So that has been great. In addition to that, when you talk about all of our specialties and what we do great, global trade is one of the ones that definitely set the bar high. I mean, I am coming from a larger bank that had great capabilities, but to come over here to Regions and really see a particular product really be honed in on and really focused and thoughtful, that is what a lot of my potential clients have said. Wow, they do this opportunity. You have this product. Tell me more. So what I'll say is, coming over here, a lot of my conversations with those potential clients that I will be onboarding soon has been why Regions. And it is a perfect time for me to explain why Regions, who we are and what we stand for. And it already has expanded my network so much. I even had a former colleague from Michigan reach out to me and provide me with a name literally because he saw that I had made the transition over to Regions.
Matt, how about you?
Yeah, and just wanted to piggyback on what Shantae said about global trade, and that's not to discount the strong partnerships we have with all of our product partners, having a TM representative here in market, having credit products here in market, having equipment finance in Texas, and having all of the partners that we have. Private wealth is another one, whereas, I've been at a bank where the private wealth was being represented 1,000 miles away from market, and so with something as intimate and as personal as somebody in our business owner's private wealth, it's just difficult to deliver success to the market and to deliver that collaboration. But going back to the point of global trade, I mean, that's just it's so crucial in Houston, being an economy that is so centric around the port and the ship channel and the import and export activity, and having those solutions in market and the ability to deliver those to our clients with faces that live in the community and who are engaged in the community. It's just very refreshing and such a great way that we can add value to our clients.
Brian, how about you? What would you add to that?
The one thing I would say is when you have all these capabilities, when you're bringing on people, when you're bringing on young talent, it puts pressure on the banker to deliver. So you really want to be best in breed. You see people be successful. It puts you on your game. You want to also have those successes. So, it kind of feeds on itself. Success begets success. So that's one thing that I really like about it. And being in this position, you need that pressure. You need that pressure on you to keep you sharp and to keep you focused.
Well, one of the areas that we've concentrated on since we have been building out the team is we want to make sure that every relationship manager has the tools that he or she needs, right? And by tools, I mean the support staff, whether it's an analyst, an associate, credit products, our risk management partner is here in market. I think that that's a little bit of a game changer too, because you're able to go out to our relationships that we have, and then with prospect names, with the full team, and they see a Regions team. It's a dual coverage model. And then you have our specialty groups that we bring in for certain industries. And I can't tell you how many times I've had phone calls from CFOs or CEOs or owners of companies that will say, John, your team just left and you have a game changer. And I'll say, well, talk to me about that a little bit. And they're like, you brought a specialty team out here that literally understands my business. That may be healthcare, that could be transportation, it could be the real estate world. A lot of different specialty groups we have and continue to build. But that's a game changer for us. And I think it speaks to Regions Bank's willingness and desire, really, that's a better word, to have relationships with companies in Houston, Texas. Relationships are very important. We don't like transactions, we like relationships. And as we build the team out, all of our associates are relationship-minded. I think we kind of hit on that, just the mere fact that Shantae and you, Matt, both wanted to go home and talk to your spouses about joining. You're relationship-oriented, and you bring that into your professional life when you do start calling on prospects and other former clients that you may have had at other banks. And Brian, you're no different. You and I have known each other for a long time, and I know that you're very relationship-oriented. And when you look at a prospect name, all three of you do, you try to look at it from a holistic standpoint where it's not they, it's not I, it's we partnering with you and your company. You're an extension of their company. And I think that's something that we all should be really proud of here in Houston as we continue to build the team out. As we wrap things up here, Shantae, just share with our listeners something that you think would be important for someone listening to this particular podcast that is geared around recruiting and what we're doing here in Houston. What do you want to share with the audience just as you wrap up?
John, thanks again for this opportunity. It's really great. And I love how you're showcasing Regions and the growth that Regions is experiencing and will continue to experience alongside with bringing in new talent like myself, Matt, as well as Brian. What I would like to leave the listeners with is the ultimate goal here in Regions is clear. It's consistently a reminder every day when we wake up and when we come into the office. That ultimate goal is to show Houston who Regions is and also share our capabilities as a bank. We're looking to grow our market share here genuinely and in the right way. And so For me, that's what brought me over here. Authenticity, and I felt like Regions is doing it the right way. With the product partners, as we mentioned before, that is definitely a game changer. Being able to bring in those experts in those industries and bring them in as a whole team and bring them in locally and not necessarily on a Zoom or on a WebEx has definitely been a game changer for my potential prospects. And then lastly, the Regions name has definitely created some buzz for me. Everyone wants to know why. Everybody wants to know more about the bank. And it's even had some potential clients literally say to me, hey, I went on Regions' website and I saw this and this. Can you explain this? Can we meet? We definitely can meet. And I would say from myself, Matt, and Brian, who are out looking for these clients, and we are here. Regions is here. We're excited to have more future clients come over and help us grow the market share. And we're definitely looking in the market for great bankers like us to come enjoy the team. So thanks again, John. I appreciate it.
Well, it's also nice to have a team that has your back. You have the support that you need from a technology standpoint and from a human resources standpoint that allows you to have confidence when you're out meeting with prospects and clients, talking to them about whatever that topic may be. You've actually have confidence that you can deliver. So, Matt, why don't you share some wrap-up words with us?
Sure. And if I'm giving anybody who's listening to this podcast who may be being recruited by Regions any advice, the first thing that I would say is accept the phone call. It is worth it. At first I didn't, and I'm glad that the recruiter was very persistent, very kindly persistent, I would say, because I'm very glad I did eventually accept that phone call. And then second, I would say if you're a purpose-driven, very entrepreneurially spirited person, today at Regions Bank in Houston is the place for you, because what we're doing is growing a business, and we have all of the support, the collaboration, and the teamwork to make that successful. So if you join Regions, you'll have the chance to build something and to be a part of something greater than yourself, which is exciting. And with that, your career is just going to continue to grow with the business that we're building here in Houston.
Brian, bring us home.
Sure. So, in addition to the competencies and the capabilities of the bank, you really need to like and trust the people you work with. And the tone at the top is always with management. So they set the pace, they set the standard. And if you have that trust in the management, which you will with Regions, you'll have a good home.
Thank you. And a thank you to all of our guests today. And I want to give a special thank you to our listeners at Regions Business Radio Houston, presented by Regions Bank, member of the FDIC. You can enjoy our episodes anytime by visiting businessradiox.com and selecting the Houston studio, and then click on Regions Business Radio. This program is also available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you enjoy your favorite podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to the program so you don't miss any of our future great episodes. I'm John Stacy, and you've been listening to Regions Business Radio Houston on Business RadioX.